Okay, thanks for joining me. I think you're here because you want to nerd out and possibly debate which MPC people should get. Whether they're beginners, whether they used one of the older machines before and they're thinking about getting another newer, more recent machine, or even another vintage machine. Which one is the MPC to get? Now, I'm a rank amateur in my basement having fun, reaching out to my tribe globally with YouTube. But I am just an amateur, not a professional musician. I do make a lot of music. I make a lot of beats and tracks and stuff like that. So I've had almost all the MPC line, except like all the older ones, except for the 500 and the 4000. And they all had their charm. I never really mastered any of them, but it's over a span of 25 years, I think, at least 20 years of me getting the MPC Classic for the first time when it was first released and using that for a long time, making some stuff on that. Not being all that thrilled about the dull sound of it, even though people say it's got that classic warmth, lo-fi. I'm not buying it. I think it's just dull, it's flat. But that's me. If you love the Classic, MPC Classic 2000, knock yourself out. It's a cool machine in its own right. And it probably has the best pads of any that I've used, so. But when it comes to, like, say you're thinking about grabbing another MPC, like I said, you're going to get into this kind of stuff, sampling and using a machine like this, or you have before thinking about buying another machine. I'm in Canada, so I'm going to use a guideline like of $800 to $1,000, because right now, a lot of what you can get that would rival this in people's minds are around 800 to 1,000. So a souped up MPC 1000 with JJOS, 800 to 1,000, depending on what it is here. A decent MPC 2000 XL, 800 to 1,000 bucks. 2,500 in that range. In that, you could probably get one in that range here. So, and these are in that same range, $800 to $1,000. A lot of people dig the Live 2 with the speaker on it. I've never tried it. I think the main difference would be some of the output configuration on the back is different. And it's a little heavier and has speakers that probably sound amazing, but I kind of like how small this one is. This machine, even though I would and do choose it over every other MPC that I think is available, it does have some shortcomings. And I am still very early in it. I think I've only had this for a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So to me, the amount of time I use it, which is maybe once or a couple times a week for, hour at a time, sometimes longer, I've gotten to know it decently. And yeah, so the shortcomings, the rubberized coating comes off. I don't care if mine looks battle worn. That means it's because I'm using it, not abusing it, but using it. And it's hard to clean. But these are minor gripes. When I'm looking at, maybe eventually I'll get a different skin or case or something. I don't know. I don't even know what's available right now because I don't really care. I just use it and let it get dusty and whatever. But the workflow is unbelievable. The file management, out of this world. Updates, I just updated it before this video. I turned it on. It said, you're connected to the internet, because I connected it here at my place. And do you want to do the update? And I said, yeah, for sure. I want the latest and greatest, because I haven't been let down with their updates for this machine yet. And they've put some really cool stuff in these things. So before I get to what's in these that I love so much, let me just talk about the workflow with something like an XL or a 1000 or a 2500 or whatever, right? What's the workflow? You're going to bang it out on the box, and you have to get it into a computer somehow. You might go in through an analog board and then into a digital card for a computer, with an AC/DC converter. Not AC/DC. I'm a little tired. You know what I mean, a digital analog converter. or you're maybe going right into a sound card or whatever. But probably if you're using a classic or 2000 XL or a 1000 or 2500 or 500, whatever, 4000, an MPC 60, 3000, you're not finishing it in the box. You're getting it out of the box somehow and probably into a DAW. Some people are going to go the reel-to-reel route and mix it out on an analog board and rack and stuff, effects, whatever. I'm talking about most people, when they're buying an XL, they're going to be recording it somehow into their computer. And then what are you going to do with it there? Well, you're going to process it probably, compression, limiting, all that kind of stuff, right? All the things that you need to do to get a song ready to be playable or listenable. You can do it all in here. You can do the whole thing in here. I don't have to take this and put it anywhere else. Is it better than my DAW for mastering? No, it's not. But I can do it here. I don't have to take that extra step and put it somewhere else. I can put it on, I can have a mastering chain on the master outlet. And it has effects. And this is where I'm going to talk a little bit more what's actually inside this box. It has effects in there that I really like. I don't really use my outboard effects right now. I like analog filters. And I have a Waldorf 2-pole and I haven't pulled it out because I was sending things out from here into it and back. The filters on this are amazing. If I want to dirty something up, there's lots in here. There's amp simulators. There's, what do I use a lot? The granulator is beautiful. The reverbs are, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. And it's all inside the box. And it's portable. It's got a battery. Thing lasts like 4 hours sometimes, maybe a bit longer. It sounds great. It's got good inputs and outputs. I can put a turntable directly into it. Think about an XL. Okay, so if you're on a budget and you're thinking about an XL, if you don't already have a mixer and a turntable, you're gonna need that kind of stuff. And if you don't already have it, you're gonna have to buy it. If you're thinking about buying a turntable anyway, if you got something like this, you can forego the mixer. Right? You don't need the mixer. It's got the let me show you. Oops. It's going to be upside down, but you'll get the gist. Phono inputs. See that? You can click phono. And it's even got there's a ground right here as well. Sorry, I missed that. Right beside it. Of course, it's right beside it. And look at the outputs. 6 outputs. 2 1/4-inch inputs, phono inputs. Wow. Full 5-pin MIDI, in, out. 2-channel in, AB, out, 2-channel out. Like, USB drive, capable and ready, and I've used it a lot, and it's so awesome. Yeah, you can do USB and cards and stuff with the older MPCs, but I didn't like it. It seemed really slow. This thing is very fast when loading files, projects, rendering, normalizing, time stretch, whatever. It's lightning fast for me. Maybe there's something faster out there and people are laughing at this thing or something. I don't know, but I'm not me. I'm loving it. It's yeah. So another USB so that you can hook that up to your computer, and this thing becomes a controller. You can put it in controller mode and use your computer. And yeah, it opens up the screen a bit more. I don't really care to do that. I like being out of the box when I use it, but maybe in the future I'll do that. And it's great for when you do the synth updates and upgrades and stuff like that. And file management. I had a huge number of files. I put a new SD drive in this. There's another thing. It's got a 1 terabyte, which is kind of small. I think I can actually go larger, but for me, that's plenty. I got a 1 terabyte SD card that drive that I put in here. So I put in tons of samples from my computer, my laptop that I have my DAW on. I mean, tons. And it was fast. It happened quickly, like as fast as I could ask for. Took a while, but like there's a lot of files, like gigs and gigs. And yeah, as soon as I was done, just unhook it. And they're all in here. They're all ready to use in there. So when I'm ready, I have such a library in here. And yeah, there's a potential for having too much and having analysis paralysis and too many samples and too many sounds and whatever, right? But I haven't run into that with this yet. When I have a certain flavor that I'm after, I like to have a nice selection of that flavor to choose from that palette. And I'm really getting a decent library together with my own samples, buying some, making some, that kind of stuff. The synths in this are beautiful. You can hook this up via MIDI to a keyboard or USB MIDI, DIN MIDI or USB, and then control it. I'm not a player. I'm a pretender, poker of the pads, I guess you could say. And I find what I like. I do well. Like I find my way around the tracks that I want to make. So I don't really need that, but that's neat. Maybe I'll use it in the future. But the synths in this, I love them. The hype synth, so good. You can get more upgrades than I've already gotten, but I'm pacing myself. I want to learn to do with what I have already, and which I feel is already more than I could use for years and years of making music. The sound quality is astronomical. It's so easy to sample. It's so easy to chop. It's so easy to copy samples. It's amazingly simple to step edit and grid edit. Look at this. I can just nudge them around, delete them, change the notes, the note values. Unbelievable. The timing on it, I had a 60 and a 3000. I really felt that the 3000 was different. The 60 was really different. There was something amazing about that timing. And maybe they've been able to replicate it on here and I'm just not finding the right settings. But you can humanize patterns. There's a selection for that. You can do the global swing and shift timing. And I'm in heaven. I'm in absolute heaven. I can't believe this thing. It's got an SD card. Like, come on. This is craziness. I love this thing. So, I'm just a guy in his basement, middle age, going through midlife synth crisis. Not even a crisis. I'm having a great time actually, and pumping out a lot of tracks, which is cool. But yeah, I'm just a dude in his basement who really loves MPCs. Always has, as soon as I learned about them. And I think from my experience, take it with a grain of salt because it's just one opinion out of many, many, many. If you want to get into making music, not collecting, not reminiscing, not hoarding gear and talking about music and gear and actually make music, I don't know how you could do any better than this for the money value, for what it will do for you, like how it performs. Wow, just incredibly. I've had it freeze up maybe 4 or 5 times total, but I leave don't tell Akai, they're gonna be very upset with me maybe, but I sometimes leave this thing on for a week. It's a stupid thing to do. I don't know why I do it. I just kind of get distracted or whatever. And maybe a week is stretching it. Maybe like 3, 4, 5 days. And it's so stable. It is incredibly stable. Turns on every time I do it. I press a button. Like I said, it asks me if I want to update when a new one comes out. Yeah, let me take a look at the side here. Have you ever seen this inside? I don't know if you'll be able to see the red light. Gotta turn it. It's pretty neat. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So you can peek through the side vents and see some flashing. Like that again adds to the beauty of this thing. Aesthetically, I love it. I'm a big fan of black and matte black. The layout's a little wonky. It's pretty wide. But you know what? When you have an XL or a 60, for crying out loud, you gotta have a desk to dedicate to an entire 60. But an XL, if I had it on here, would go kind of past the end if I put it flush here, and it would go pretty much here. And then there's the outlets and everything in the back. So what they did here, even though it's an awkward design in some ways, it's very wide and not very deep. I actually appreciate that they did that, because now it can be on a shelf that is not as deep, and there's lots of room for cords and whatnot, and there's no real issues that way, you know what I mean? So yeah, one of the many things. The touchscreen is phenomenal. I use it a lot. The knobs are good. The Q links can be a little touchy, like they're not as responsive as I'd like sometimes. As far as I know, that's probably a setting somewhere that I just haven't found and looked into. So those are my only gripes, really. The rubberized coating, and the Q links are sometimes not as responsive as I'd like. Other than that, though, I'm in. Like I said, I've had everything except the 500 and the 4000, and I'm done. I sold them all. They're all gone. I never thought I'd get rid of my XL. Not that I made any gold records with it, but that's an amazing sampler. It really is. But there's nothing about the XL that I miss having this. Nothing. Other than how cool the XL looks, if I'm being honest, I think that was one of the coolest looking MPCs. I love them all, though. I shouldn't say that. So there we go. I've talked on way too long about this. But hey, think about these things. If you're going to drop $800 or $1,000 Canadian, whatever that translates into, whatever country you're in, that's a fair bit of loot for a lot of people. So, think these things through, and watch more videos like this if you're undecided. And what's the rush? I know it's exciting to get into it, but buyer's regret sucks too, especially when you're forking out a bunch of money. Ask me how I know with Electron stuff. Thankfully, with Electron, it's very easy to sell afterward and even make a profit. But, if I wasn't able to, I definitely would have regretted that purchase with Electron. And it's no slight against Electron, but I have MPC brain, so I don't know what my excuse is other than that. I just don't need another. I'm here. I've arrived. This is my destination, and I'm here. So the aliens have landed. They gave us the cool shit to make beats, and this is it. They're like, look, you guys have suffered with this archaic technology for long enough with your XL and your 60. The 60 is awesome. I shouldn't blaspheme it, but for the skit, it's worth it. You've suffered long enough with your floppy disks. Take this. And they gave it to us. It was glowing. The pads were all lit up in different colors. And yeah, and they said, here, make some beats. Like, get down to business. Stop messing around, chopping up samples for 45 minutes on a MPC 3000 before you can even get to work. So that's just my take. I have love in my heart for all MPCs and the people who use them much better than I do. So, nothing but gratitude. But for me, this is where it's at. So thanks for watching. Check out some of my Bandcamp stuff if you care to. It's not for everyone, but I'm really digging where I'm going with my music right now. So I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.